What's up, this is EasyOS 10 and welcome to another video. And Apple has released their iWork for iCloud beta. This is their Google Docs Office 365 competitor. Right now, like I said, it's only in beta for registered Apple developers, but this is a sneak preview. I'm not going to do a complete review. I'm not going to give you like pros and cons. Do I think this is, something you could use? Right now, since it's still in beta, it's not worth the review. I'll do a full review when the final version that everyone can access comes out. Officially, this will run on Mac or Windows for not versions, but for Safari, Google Chrome, and Internet Explorer. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. So let me give you some first impressions. Let's start up with Pages. You can see here in the main window, there's the ability to create a new document. It also talks about changes from iWork on iOS or Mac being able to sync over. Haven't really tested that yet. I want to focus solely on the web functionality at this point. There's also the ability up here to create new documents, settings as well, the ability to create and upload from here, sorting, and likewise, iCloud not only will allow you to, iWork for iCloud not only allow you to create new documents from here, but you can upload Word and Pages documents straight from your desktop. You can either do this by going up to the gears icon, hitting upload document, or you can drag and drop. So first off, I created a little test document here, and you can see how it opens up in another window. So pretty simple, very iOS if you used iWork for iOS. Text works very smoothly. As you can see, I'm typing here. This is document. So everything runs very well, very smoothly. Didn't really notice any crashes or bugs. You can easily change the font to a wide variety, including major fonts such as Helvetica, Times New Romans, etc. smoothly. Likewise, the main functions of text, changing the font, the color text, bold, italicized, etc. all here, as well as the quick access to paragraph styles such as titles, the basic headers, etc., things like that. There's also the paragraph spacing here in Pages, list style, so you can have bullets or numbering, letters, whatever you want, and you get a few more other panels. Like I said, this is very much like iWork for iOS. You can create guides, have guides so that you can line up things, see the spacing. It automatically check for spelling. You can see that. And you can go back, of course, to hit documents. You can also quickly add either by drag and drop or by uploading. Quickly add shapes, a lot of pre-made shapes. Image, as you can see, you can just choose one or, like I said, drag it over. And the undo, redo buttons. Now, the nice thing too is that a lot of these buttons that we see, there's keyboard shortcuts for, and they work just the same if you use the desktop applications. So, for example, if I hit Command B, it unbolds it or bolds it as I want. Likewise, Command U. And if I hit Command Z, the undo command, that works just as well too. And of course, you can see up here, there's the redo button. Control Shift Z is redo. And lastly, there's the share button up here, which will allow you to share this via iCloud Mail as a Word document, a PDF, or an iWork Pages document. So you can send it just about to anyone. Now, couple things I will note as of this recording. At the moment, you can see how there's the ruler, which what this normally allows you to do is create indentions, create the margins of paper. Currently, these actually don't do anything. I can't drag or move them, anything like that. At this point, I figured they'll come out with those later, but you can still indent. As you can see, I did it here with the indent buttons right here to the right. Works, like I said, works very well. And then when you're done, just close it out, and it's already actually finished syncing for me. It'll sync it pretty much as you type, just like Google Docs and Office 365. Imports also, like I said, Word documents and Pages document. This is a political science paper, a 30-page political science paper I typed. I'm not going to go into what it's about, but essentially this is something I had to write up, and it imported just fine. You'll notice though, as I get farther along, it has to render the pages. Doesn't take too long. If I scroll down to page 14 from 7, see it pops up in just a few seconds. And this was imported as a Word document, and as you can see, it's not a really fancy document. It's just a standard MLA paper, and it it imported just fine. You'll notice page breaks, headers, everything. Actually, headers is something else I want to talk about. There's not really a way at this point that I found to add things like page numbers and such. Again, this is a beta application, so keep that in mind. But both pages and Word documents, both importing and exporting, as you can see, worked very well. And likewise, finished typing these pages, and everything looked perfectly normal. Let's talk about Numbers. Numbers is the spreadsheet application. Admittedly, I'm not a fan of Numbers personally, but the Numbers for iCloud works very much the same way, except in spreadsheet format. It works with either Numbers documents from iWork, or you can use Excel spreadsheets. Didn't really import any spreadsheets, didn't really test that. Partially because some of the formula stuff doesn't really translate over, as well, between a Excel spreadsheet to a regular document. Now, as you can see here, I created this little spreadsheet as a test within iWork. You can create tables, which right now only goes up to 23, but you can expand this if you want, as far to the right or down as you want. Quick little color tools that you can make it look fancy or unfancy, whatever you want. It's very bare bones at this point. I haven't really found a good way, and granted, like I said, I don't use as many formulas as much in these spreadsheets, but haven't really had a way to really do any of the formulas. So complicated formulas like that, not there yet, or then again, I may be dumb and not know how to do it properly. So we'll see as that goes along. Same sort of thing though with the share button, for example. Sharing as a numbers, a PDF, or an Excel file, and creating new tables, new sheets as well, so you can have multiple sheets within a document. Again, it works exactly the same. So that way you can have, for example, if you're running a business, you can have a checking account, a savings account, etc. So Numbers, pretty simple, not the best of the bunch at the moment. Lastly, let's talk about Keynote. Keynote is my favorite presentation application compared to PowerPoint or to LibreOffice, OpenOffice. It's just a beautiful application. It's simple and it runs very nicely. Just like its other counterparts, it'll import Keynotes from the desktop or Microsoft PowerPoint files. And actually, for this one, as you can see here, I brought in a PowerPoint file and an Excel spreadsheet. Not an Excel spreadsheet. I'm still thinking of the last one. I still have a PowerPoint and a Keynote file. The same presentation, just rendered both of these as the two different file types in the desktop application and brought them here. Now this one's very picture heavy, so you can see it's taking a little bit longer to bring in. Now you can see, I will note one little glitch. It's not anything major, but this is the Pages application, for example. Excuse me, the PowerPoint. Sorry, the PowerPoint, and you can see the bullets are not completely in line. I don't know why that is, but if I go to the same page in the Keynote file, again, it's going to take a little bit of time as I open up. So go to the same one. See, this is the one I imported from Keynote. Bullets pretty much in line, a little bit cut off there, but kind of a strange little glitch. Not really a big deal, but anyway. All that aside, though, things like transitions, slideshows, all that sort of stuff works beautifully. I didn't notice any lag really at all. I'll create a few here real quick, some effects, just to show you. I throw it in full screen mode. This is all running pretty much on HTML5 and JavaScript, things like that. As I move through, all the slides transition very smoothly. Might be a little bit more laggy since I'm running the screen capture, but when I'm not running screen capture, it runs very smoothly. I was rather impressed, especially with some of the more complicated effects like rotation and stuff. So that's the iWork for iCloud beta. And like I said, I'm not giving it a full review. Like I said, this is just a little overview of what you can expect so far in the iWork for iCloud beta. Like I said, there's a couple features there. really simple features, a couple features that aren't there yet, some that may not work properly. Like I said, I think this is going to be a better application. I know it's going to be a better application when it comes out, more full featured. For right now, this is, like I said, this is only for Apple developers. This is just a preview of what it's like. It's still workable though. I wouldn't expect to write full page papers yet in it, or to create whole business spreadsheets. I wouldn't move your business all over to iWork for iCloud yet. But then again, it'll get better, and I expect it'll be much more comparable to Office 365 and Google Docs when it comes out. And eventually, I'd expect it to be just as good as the desktop counterparts. So one last thing I want to talk about here is if you pay attention to the browsers at all, Apple announced that iWork for iCloud would support Safari, Google Chrome, and Internet Explorer. Now, it makes sense, of course, that Safari would be supported because it's Apple's own browser, and Chrome and Safari are based off the same engine, so it's not too hard to port one over to the other. And lastly, Internet Explorer, because it's still one of the most dominant browsers, and it's for people if they want to switch over to the Apple platform, putting for Internet Explorer is still a good way to go. But the noticeable exemption was Firefox, and Firefox not officially being supported. So I switched over to Firefox to see what it would do when I switched over to one of these iWork applications. And you can see here, I only get it the first time I open any of the applications. So for example, I opened Pages and it didn't pop up a second time. But here, I'm opening up Keynote for the first time in Firefox. And the iCloud beta is telling me your browser isn't fully supported. For best Keynote for iCloud experience, use the latest version of Safari. So you get that little warning pop-up because, like I said, it's not officially supported. However, going into some of these applications, it seemed to work pretty much the same way. There were a couple glitches. For example, in Pages, I'm not going to show it, but in Pages, you didn't see the page breaks. It seemed to be one continuous document when looking in Firefox, but looking like Safari or Chrome, it looked completely normal. Anyway, but everything else seems to run just the same way. So anyway, that's iWork for iCloud beta. Thanks for watching the video, guys. If you want to check out more, go to EasyOSX.net, and you can be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Google+. Thanks for watching, guys.